All right, we're in week 2. I know that there was a lot of new information thrown at you guys last week, I'm sure from all of your classes, and I'm sure it's a little bit overwhelming. I hope that you guys have kind of gotten into a groove of what's been helpful, what to figure out in terms of balancing everything with all of your classes. So this week we're only going to introduce one new topic. So for this video it's going to be a review from your homework from last week. So I'm going to take a few problems, kind of go over them step by step so that you guys can check and make sure that you're tracking with the new content before we move into some new information. I'm not going to do this every single week, but just as we're all kind of getting in the hang of this right now, I wanted to take the time to kind of go over this step by step with you guys. So we are looking at the worksheet Rational Expressions. It's a CUDA worksheet. We're going to mainly be focusing on solving rational expressions when you're multiplying them or dividing them. All of the other ones we are canceling them out. You can look on the answer keys for those. Those have been posted. And if you have more specific questions, just log on to a Google Hangout. That will be posted in Classroom and I can answer those questions for you. So first question we're going to look at is 15. We're looking at all the odd questions, 15 through 25. So you have this rational expression. You should notice that it's division sign. So first thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and flip that second equation and change that sign to multiplication. So I'm going to rewrite that. Okay, so I rewrote that rational expression, kept the very first fraction the same, changed my division to multiplication, and then I flipped my second one. Okay, if you're not remembering that, go back to the video. It would have been 1.2 in Google Classroom, and there are notes on how to multiply those. So next you need to state your excluded values. So we have two places, v plus 8 equals 0 and v minus 10 equals 0. So v can't equal negative 8 or 10. Now you are good to go ahead and cancel off any factors. So I can actually cancel out, we'll choose a different color, v minus 10. And I can cancel v plus 8. So my new fraction is v minus 7 over 1, which will just simplify to v minus 7. And then v can't equal negative 8 or 10. Okay, if you feel like that one was pretty easy, but you skipped these problems, go and try the number 16. So it's an even problem that kind of matches up similarly with this one. We are going to focus now on problem number 17. Right away, they're multiplied together, so I don't have to do anything with switching. I just need to state my excluded values, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Excluded values are anywhere that x is a factor on your denominator. So in this case, x can't equal negative 3. Now I can go ahead and cancel out anything. So I can cancel out the x plus 3. And I can also cancel out this 3 in front of that as well. So I have v minus 6 multiplying across. Sorry, not v, we're in x. X minus 6 over 4. And I just need to state that x can't equal negative 3. Okay, I haven't done too many complicated steps here. Again, if you're feeling confident with this one, go ahead and try number 18. Kind of complements this one. We're moving on though to problem 19. Okay, another division one. So I'm going to go ahead and change my sign and flip that second fraction. Okay, so I changed my sign to multiplication and I flipped that fraction. The other step that I did as well, and I kind of quickly skipped past those steps, but I factored out from this part of my fraction here. Okay, I factored out a 2b, so I was left with b minus 6. That's all that I could do with factoring. So now I'm going to go ahead and list my excluded values. That's anywhere that I have a factor of a variable on the denominator. So that's b plus 5 and b minus 6. I need to solve for b. So b can't equal a negative 5 or positive 6. Now I can go ahead and I can cancel out terms. So I can cancel out the b plus 5 and the b minus 6. So now when I go ahead and multiply across, all I'm left with is 2b. And I have b can't equal negative 5 or positive 6. That's it. Okay, again, if you want to do some practice problems and you skipped over some of the practice from week 1, try problem number 20. That kind of complements 19. Even if you felt like you got the hang of it, go back and practice it just to make sure. Next one we're looking at here is 21. I don't need to worry about changing any signs, but I do need to factor. So the only thing that I can factor is actually this part of my rational expression. I can take out the greatest common factor, or the greatest number repeated by both of those, which is 7. If you need to do that list like we've done before, you can do that. That's totally fine. So it'll be 4 and a minus 7. Nope, minus b. All over b minus 4 times 1 over b plus 10. All right, list your excluded values. So I have b minus 4 equals 0 and b plus 10 equals 0. So b can't equal 4 or negative 10. Now I'm going to go ahead and cancel out. Okay, there's nothing that I can cancel out or that looks obvious for me to cancel out. There is, however, something, and this is a little bit tricky to kind of recognize. But we can actually cancel out these two factors if we can get them to be identical, so if we can get them to match up. So notice that the signs in front of b are opposite and the signs in front of 4 are opposite. So what I'm actually going to do is from this top box here, I'm going to take out a negative 1. So I'm going to make this a negative 7 that I'm taking out now. So I already have the 7. I'm going to take out a negative 1. If I take out or divide that 4 by a negative 1, that leaves me with negative 4. If I take out or divide that negative b by a negative 1, that leaves me with a positive b. Okay, they almost look identical. The only thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the order of these two. Okay, I'm not changing any part of the problem, just switching how they're ordered. So negative 1 times 7 makes it a negative 7. Switch that order to b minus 4. And now I'm going to cancel out. So now I can cancel those out because they are identical. Now you're going to multiply across. Negative 1 times 7 is negative 7. And this just becomes b plus 10. Okay, so that was a little bit tricky, but as long as the signs are opposite for those terms, you can take out a negative 1 and you will get them to match up. All right, we're going to try number 23 now. So we have division, so that means I need to switch that to multiplication. When I do that, I'm also going to factor out. So let me do factoring out right now before I switch. So I can take out a 9, leaves me with p minus 4. Here I can take out a 5p squared, leaves me with p minus 7. All right, so now, I'm going to cancel those out. Going to go ahead and switch this to multiplication and then switch my fraction. Okay, I need to list my excluded values. So I have 5p squared, and then I have p minus 4. 0 divided by 5 is 0. Square root of 0 is just going to be 0 as well. So can't equal 4 or 0. Now I can go ahead and cancel out. And cancel out this entire 5p squared, and that's it. So now we're going to multiply it across. I have p minus 7 over 9 times p minus 4. And again, p can't equal 0 or 4. All right, last one that we're going to try is number 25. Now 25 and 26 were some of the most difficult problems on this page. So if you got the answers, awesome. If not, pay attention to 25 and then maybe go back and try 26 on your own. Okay, multiplication, so I don't need to worry about any of this, but I do need to factor. So here, this is actually difference of perfect squares. So it's x minus 4, x plus 4. Okay, and then for these two in this fraction here, I need to actually figure out what numbers will multiply to negative 90 and add up to 1. Okay, you can do your T-chart for that. Telling you that it's going, so you're multiplying to 90 and adding to 1. Kind of put those on different sides. Let me switch those. Okay, so I have the multiplication now on the left, which is what we've typically been doing. So that turns out to negative 9 and 10. So I'm going to factor that as x minus 9, x plus 10. And then for 40, I need to see what factors of 40 will add up to a positive 14. And you can figure out that by doing all of your factors for that. Okay, but I'm just going to jump ahead, and 4 times 10 will actually add up to 14. So my factors here are x plus 4, x plus 10. All right, I'm going to pause this just so that I can rewrite this a little neater. Okay, so I rewrote that fraction, both fractions, and I also listed my excluded values everywhere that's on my denominator. For this one here, I ended up adding the x to both sides. Normally we're subtracting or adding the number. But because x was negative, I knew if I moved it to the other side it would be positive and I didn't have to do any extra work. So you have x can equal 9, negative 4, or negative 10. Now you can go ahead and you can cancel out. Okay. There should be something that looks somewhat familiar compared to our last problem. X minus 9 and the 9 minus x. Okay, very similar to what we had last time, but we need to get those to be identical. So we can actually take out a negative 1. So when I take that out, it makes it negative x and a positive 9. Let's rewrite those again. Okay, so I just rewrote those with taking out my canceled terms so far. Notice that my second fraction, nothing's on the denominator, so it's just 1. Okay. So now with this blue negative x plus 9 and this 9 minus x, I'm just going to rewrite this one with the 9 first. When I do that, then I can actually go ahead and cancel out that factor as well. So I have a negative 1 times x minus 4 all over 1. So it's just going to be, if I distribute this negative 1, negative x plus 4, then x can't equal negative 4, 9, or 10. Okay, I know again that one was really challenging because you had a lot for factoring and you needed to remember to switch that one factor to get it to be identical. So practice that, rewatch it if you need to. Okay, your homework for now until Wednesday or now until whenever you watch the next video. So check your answer keys, go back for both worksheets, fix any mistakes, and then log on to a Google Hangout session if you still have more questions. All right, see you guys then on Wednesday.